We have in theater 8 a female of 55 years. She's affected by a proliferative diabetic retinopathy. In her right eye, the visual acuity is 20/200. The OCT shows a very strong macular traction. The autofluorescence shows a lot of retinal hemorrhages, new vessels at the disc, and generated epiretinal fibrovascular membrane.
So you have a diabetic patient.
The traction here, I just started my vitrectomy, curvitrectomy, and now I'm using a Venturi pump for the curvitrectomy. The Oertli machine has 2 pumps, the Venturi and the peristaltic, and then once I have cut all the peripheral hyaloid, I will work in the center and in the macula and try to relieve distraction. This patient has no laser at all, so I'm going to do a PRP laser at the end of the surgery. And we'll see. Can you see the hyaloid here? Now I'm using the Venturi, then when I will go close to the membranes, I can switch to peristaltic, or there is a third option that is PEEP pump. And then this PEEP pump with this machine is really nice because you can control the vacuum and the flow at the meantime. So it's like a controlled peristaltic pump when I go close to the membrane. So now I'm cutting the eye. I prefer to remove all the traction, the periphery first, and then work in the center of the eye. The cutting rate is 8,000, a double port, so it's like 1,600.
So why is it important? Why do you feel it's important to use a flow control, the peristaltic pump in this bit of the operation?
Because with the peristaltic pump, I better have a better control of the flow at the port at the vitrectomy.
I see.
So when I go close to the retina, where the traction, I can better control the flow at the port of the vitreous tip. You see, with this vitrectomy machine, you can aspirate and give 1 cut or 2 cuts. So the flow control is really incredible.
And you're going to start the dissection from the disc to try and get in the right plane?
I'm going to start from the disc, yes.
Yeah.
I release the traction around the disc first, and then I will go. I don't think I'm going to release all this traction here because I'm afraid about bleeding. So I will cut the membrane and see what happens. There's a huge traction here. With the cutter, with this flow control, I can go close to the membrane.
And this is
So
25 gauge.
Maximum cut rate.
Okay.
Fabio, this is Klaus Eckert.
Hi, Klaus.
From the auditorium. There is always the discussion, shall we do such a situation, shall we operate on it with a bimanual technique using chandelier light or using the cutter? And obviously you prefer this kind of technique.
Not always.
Can you tell us why?
Not always. I would probably switch on bimanual in this area because with the cutter is impossible to release the traction here. So I will probably switch in a few minutes. And I'm going to show you a very nice chandelier. And then I go in the periphery, I remove the vitreous.
So Fabio, you're doing some peripheral vitrectomy, and is that somebody indenting for you, or have you got a chandelier in the eye at the moment, or?
I use a chandelier, and I used to indent by myself. It's much better.
Yeah.
And I always do like this, always, because you have a better control. with this machine, now I'm using the infusion. You can use both the forced infusion with gravity. Oh, it's being lit here. I didn't touch anything, just pushing the eye. Okay, we'll do it later. So with this machine, if I use the gravity infusion, I can indent easily than the forced infusion. So it's fine.
Are you still using the same flow control settings, or?
Yes, I'm using this PEEP now. Yes, the peristaltic flow control. Yeah.
And do you have a lower flow settings for the peripheral retina, or the same as
in peripheral retina? When it's attached, I can use the same. When it's detached, with the peristaltic is much better. So when I go in the periphery, I prefer to use the peristaltic or the PEEP. This PEEP.
And what chandelier system are you using? You mentioned before that you...
25 gauge chandelier that it fits exactly well in all the trocars. So in this case, since I had to use a bimanual surgery, I have to put his own trocar. But in other cases, I just put the chandelier in one of the two trocars that they use for the instruments and indent. So I don't have to do another hole in the eye because it's blocked perfectly.
So then you can swap it around according to which side of the eye you want it on, yeah?
Yeah, the blood there, because I didn't expect that. I didn't have any traction. So. Just to show you that I'm finished, it's the eye. I did the PRP, no bleeding anymore, so I had not to do the endodiathermy, and now I'm gonna to put SF6 and some steroids into the eye.
Why tamponade if you have no break?
Because this young lady is 50 years old, and I think it's gonna bleed a little bit afterwards. So with gas, probably bleeding will be less. Probably no, probably yes.
Why will gas help stop bleeding?
Because it pushes the vessels, probably. This is my personal opinion. So if you release a tamponade, it's better than water or air.